Okay, I'll check as soon as I can.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Happy Stickmas. Hope you had a good one. I'm Mike,
Yes.
and I'm here with Joe Drilling
I'm Joe Drilling, and I'm here with Mike,
and Eric
currently.
Allen, who is here with.
It
I'm what's stupid.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
it's working.
that's not
It's
cool.
it's working, but it says we're streaming 31 Nights of Horror Games, Resident Evil 2. But it is working.
Well, that's a start, right? Kurt
Yes.
apparently is also here. Kurt Adam, say hello.
I am also.
Hey, that's new. Nice to have you. So, we're doing the Stickmas thing. We're going to do 2 games tonight, which is why I've got 2 bits of box art over there. We're going to start with Nuclear Throne, which I gave to Joe. And so the backstory on this one is that this game kicks ass, and it's a very difficult action roguelike. And whenever I draw Joe, it's hard to come up with games that I think he will be interested in but hasn't played, because he tends to mostly play, lots of action games, which are often not that long, so it's not that hard to squeeze them in. It's not like he's an RPG fan who plays 80-hour games all the time. And then I thought, hey, I think this game is really, really good. Very difficult and occasionally frustrating, but I think it's really good. So why not give it a try? The only thing is, I played this game like 4 years ago, or whenever it was released officially, I think. And I sunk about 20 hours into it back then. And I have not played it a whole lot since then. I sunk like 2 or 3 hours in over the last couple weeks to refresh myself, but I'm definitely not a walking encyclopedia when it comes to this thing. So Joe, who is full of questions, is going to have to either figure some stuff out or find other sources of information. And now I'm going to play the game, and Joe's going to tell me about it.
Okay. Well, I've been playing a lot lately.
Of this game?
Of this game. It's several hours this week. And it's good. It's a roguelike or roguelike, but I
You
like
could maybe call this one a
roguelike
roguelike
more.
because you don't get a lot of hand holding. You don't get a lot of permanent upgrades in this game. But I like calling them all roguelike likes because it's just a fun word.
Yeah, same.
It's like a like who's gone over the edge.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm having a hard time with it. So the criticisms I have of it are the same criticisms I have of most roguelike likes, which is that sometimes it feels like if the dice rolls aren't in your favor, no matter what you do or how good you are at the game, like you're just hosed, which I don't love. And I get that that's part of the thrill for people who are super into games like this, is like, oh, can I overcome these odds of having a disc gun?
How do I make a best with that hand?
Right? How do I? Yeah. How right. It's like I got dealt like a 7 high card hand. How do I make this work? That's, I don't know. I don't always love that because it can feel uneven, I guess, for lack of a better term. Also, I'm just getting out of the way the things that I don't like at the beginning, because I actually do like this game quite a bit, and I'm actually kind of ashamed it took so long to play this. In fact, I played the sort of beta version that I got in like a weird Humble Bundle a million years ago, which was called Wasteland Kings, and it was like an early version of this. And I actually don't really remember much about it except that it was a top-down shooter. It was not as fleshed out as this. Didn't have as many characters, as many guns, as many enemies. It was sort of a proof of concept. But yeah, there are some weapons that are borderline useless, and there are some character abilities that feel borderline useless. Also, I felt like my first run, I actually did pretty well. Like my very first run, I booted it up, I sat down, I played, and I made it to the 3rd stage, 3-1 or whatever, and I unlocked like 4 characters immediately. And then I didn't unlock another one until literally just before we started the stream.
I will say that unlocking characters is a fairly rare occurrence. I've only unlocked a handful, kind of ever.
Sure, but when on your first time playing the game, you unlock 4 of them, then you
Well, that just
sort
means
of
they're
feel
front-loaded.
like, right, but then you feel like this should happen more frequently until I have them all, and it happened 4 times in the first 10 minutes, and then not again for 3 hours. So,
Well, yeah, that's just a choice that they made to make some of the unlocks really easy and some of them really hard. Sorry. Anyway, I get what you mean. Roguelike likes do have that thing where sometimes the cards are stacked against you, and it's gonna be you're gonna have a hard road to hoe, or you're just gonna die. I feel like this game is less bad than a lot of them in that sense, because even a successful run of this game is like 20 minutes, maybe less.
well, the last one of these that I
Such as
played
that.
was Dead Cells, which could also have that problem. Like if you're in the toxic sewers in Dead Cells and your weapons are ass, like you just forget it. Just start over. You know. But I think that Dead Cells was, I don't know. I mean, a run of Dead Cells takes longer. The time I reached the final boss, which I never beat the final boss in Dead Cells, but I made it to him. Took me like an hour and a few minutes.
Yeah, it takes me like an
hour
hour
and 10, I want to say.
I've only finished Dead Cells once, but it takes me an hour pretty much every time I get to the last boss. Dead Cells, I would say, for me, it's less, oh, this run is doomed from the start, and more, as I get towards the end of the game, I can tell that I just don't have what I'm going to need to beat the Hand of the King. And so, actually, I think that's maybe worse than this, because at least this game kind of has the courtesy of killing you really fast if you're not up to snuff.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
But dying is a fact of life in this game. I've played this game for 20-ish hours. I don't know how many times I've died. I'm sure it keeps track somewhere. But
it does keep track.
But even with that much
stats
experience,
screen.
I have some runs that just immediately fail. Right?
Yeah, and I also went through that thing where, like, when you're trying to unlock stuff in a game that's hard, or you're trying to do a different thing that's difficult. Like, I'm thinking of times like when I unlocked the invincibility cheat in GoldenEye, or when I unlocked the White Angel car in Ridge Racer Revolution, where like you're just hammering away at doing the same thing over and over again, trying to complete this thing, and then you get worse at it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like you regress because you're getting frustrated, or because you're trying to skip the boring parts, or because you're just getting sloppy and frustrated a little bit. And so like last night I played worse than I've been playing this pretty much since the beginning of the week. And last night I sat down and played it, and I did worse last night than I did on Monday night. Like I didn't set a new high. I didn't unlock anything. Actually, I unlocked one thing last night. I unlocked a skin for Eyes where he's wearing 3D glasses, which is pretty dope. Eyes has been my go-to because his telekinesis can help dodge bullets, and he can see in the dark levels, so you're not as restricted in terms of your field of vision.
See in the dark. That's not so important.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't have robot, but I'm saying you're getting a lot more impressive weapons than I ever get in the first 2 stages. So I think that's robot's ability, right? As he gets better gear.
Yes, and you can also eat guns, which I've done several times by accident.
Yeah, and I noticed that. What happens when you eat a gun?
You get some health or ammo back. I think usually ammo, but occasionally health. The only problem is that I've been doing it by mistake, which is not usually what you want to do.
Right, right.
Yeah,
so I think the thing that I've sort of, I mean, I feel like I could have a run at this game, but I would need, like, the best runs I've had so far involved, like, like I was saying, pretty good luck. The best run I had, I think, involved me getting the homing bolt mutation and a really good crossbow. And my secondary, the weapon that I had sort of as a secondary to that homing crossbow was like also very good. It was maybe the triple machine gun that you have now, or it was something, or it was, no, I'm sorry. I got the thing that makes some certain kinds of bullets bounce further. And I got that pop gun that bounces, that's like a machine gun where the bullets bounce all over the place to begin with.
Right, that's what I was using last time when I fought the big guy.
Yeah, and that just turned into like you know, murder on all fronts, and those crow assholes in World 3 were much less of a problem.
They are assholes.
But then in 3-3, I got murked by something that I couldn't. I blew up a barrel or something that I was too close to. Also, fuck the grenade launcher in this game, because I swear every time I grab it and think it's going to be useful, I end up killing myself with it.
That's, you know, like that's like grenade launchers in real life, Joe.
It's
What I want to
I
say
mean, this
is
game is clearly going for a realistic vibe, so I
Yeah,
really
exactly.
guess the grenade launcher being realistic
gritty.
makes sense. Yeah, right.
what I want to say is don't take it personally.
It's an Arma mod, so yeah.
It's an Arma mod.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say this is a game where you die a lot,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
you know, again, even with a bunch of experience playing the game, I would still die very often in the first world. Like, I've made it to the end of the game, and I've gotten to the final boss, but never beat it. But there's still, like, one run out of two where I don't even make it out of the desert, probably. Because, in particular, this game is really good at killing you. Like, your character is squishy as hell. And that's why I kind of tend to focus more on damage output than on, like, resistance, having more health or anything like that. Because even if you have 12 hit points, or 16... one bad explosion might be able to kill you from full health.
Well, there's a mutation you can get where explosions don't damage you once you're under 4 health,
That doesn't
which
help
I
if
feel
you're
like
at
could
8
be
health.
situationally useful. Well, right. But if you were using like Melted, which I tried all the characters, but he only has 2 health unless you get a mutation.
Oh,
that
right,
gives
right.
more.
'Cause you get
2.
mutations.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
he's
he
immune to
mutations.
explosions until he levels up, basically.
Right. So you could theoretically put that mutation on him if it was available to you. But that's part of the thing. Is like I feel like a lot of times, like I don't know how random the randomness is in this game. I assume it's purely. I don't think there's such a thing as pure random in a computer program because it has to be predicated on something. But it's probably close to. Yeah, it's probably close to. But it feels like if you get the laser.
Are you really trying to say it doesn't? The game isn't cheating, fudging the numbers
in my favor enough.
Yeah,
I'm saying it's not fudging in my favor enough because like you'll get the I'll get the mutation for stronger energy weapons, and then I'll never find an energy weapon for the rest of that run. Or I'll get the or I'll get a crossbow, and I'll never get the mutation as an option for the homemade crossbow bolts.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like sometimes it feels like again because I feel like the energy weapons aren't that good unless you have that mutation.
No,
so
when you have it, they're amazing.
Right,
So
but
it's
carrying
a real
one
feast or
around
famine.
feels kind of like dead weight, And then, like, do you find the mutation where it stops you from dying? Do you find that useful at all, or not really?
I mean, in general, in these games, not much because you're much. Oh, flat cannon. Is that? Hold on, let's grab that. See how that works. Ooh.
Hey, that's the car. You don't have a screwdriver.
I just ate my flat cannon, so never mind.
Good job.
Whoa! Geez,
Stop hitting left trigger, Mike.
I hate these guys. So I don't remember what I was gonna say. No, I think that abilities that like bring you back to life, chances are, if that happens to you, you either don't have the good enough gear or else you're kind of out of the zone. So, like, yeah, there's a chance that you'll make an innocent mistake and that this thing will put you back in a spot to actually make some progress. But I'd rather take a mutation that just makes me a better character. Like I said, runs are very disposable in this game. They're short, you die a lot. So, like, if things aren't going my way, I do my best, but, if not, I'll just try to do better the next time. Now, as to the weapons, there is a way to choose what your starting weapon is going to be.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
But it's a secret, and I don't remember exactly how to get there, but it's one of those things that's kind of, I think it might actually be the car. There are golden weapons you can find, and if you take one, then it will become your starting weapon until... oh, that's nice. Let's eat this. So this is like a kind of a long-range shotgun crossbow that I have, which, as you can imagine, with homing bolts, is going to be real dangerous.
Right.
Yeah, so if you can... I mean, I don't remember. I did it a long time ago. Maybe look it up if you're curious, but there is a way to say, all right, I just always want to start with at least
Well, there's
some
a
kind of machine
screen
gun or
where
something.
Where you choose your skin, there's a screen that has like all the gun, or not all of them maybe, but a lot of guns on it, but they're all blacked out on mine. I don't know how to unlock any of them.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's been a long time and I don't remember the details, but there is a way. So if you're getting really frustrated, maybe look up how to do that, and then you can at least guarantee that you'll start with something kind of interesting every run.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
like
not
just a
there
base machine
quite
gun
yet.
is a nice thing to have, for example, over the pistol.
There. I just unlocked a new character, like I said, right before we started streaming. I'm not currently playing. I'm watching you play and talking about it. So, but yeah, a lot. I'm actually. I remember. I'm glad you gave it to me because this is one of those games where I remember it coming out. I remember I knew what it was in terms of, you know, it's a top-down shoot 'em up, you know, and you know, all that stuff. And I missed it for some reason. It's one of those games where I just couldn't find the time for it or the money for it when it was new or whatever. And then, you know, when you miss a game when it's new, a lot of times it just goes by the wayside. And then like, yep, that's it. I missed it. Like,
That's what
and you
Sticksmas
just
is
never
for,
really
man.
find. Yeah, and so I really like it. I know I feel like I've kind of been trashing it a little bit, but I actually really do like it. I like I like all the different characters and their different
Abilities?
abilities. Yeah, I was gonna say mutations, but those are the level up things. Um, so I like that. Even though some of them feel like kind of borderline useless. um, but you know, I like the guns. Also, oh, I got an action figure of that guy in
Steroids?
in like a blind box thing. I think it was a fan gamer thing for Games Done Quick, like last summer Games Done Quick 2019. And I mean, I thought he looked funny, so he's standing over on one of my shelves. But I was
He
like,
does
I
look
have no
funny.
idea what this. Yeah. What's his ability? Because I haven't
He can
unlocked
use
it
both
yet.
weapons at the same time.
Oh, sick.
Which I'm demonstrating here by using the laser pistol in conjunction with the regular pistol. I'm also gonna get myself killed, but what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah, so one mutation I found that is consistently useful for sure is the rabbit's foot.
What's that one do?
More HP and ammo drops.
Yeah, ammo drops for sure. I would actually say ammo drops are maybe better than HP drops, because again, you can have 6 out of 8 hit points and a lot of things will still kill you in one shot. But ammo is good because that way you can use your favorite weapons more often.
Right. And well, you also mentioned to me, we were texting the other day, and you said that you ran out of bullets on the nuclear throne the time you made it that far. So
I sure did. And I hit that thing a bunch with like some kind of super crossbow that I had. So I don't know how many hits it takes, but yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I should mention is this game does have a whole bunch of secrets, but they're pretty well hidden.
Yeah, I unlocked this character right before we started playing, and I just looked up, like, because again, I unlocked 4 characters in the first 10 minutes, and then I wasn't unlocking anymore. So I was like, do I just have to make it further, or what do I have to do? And so I looked it up, and then one of them, it was like, oh, if you get to stage 3-1 and there's a red and yellow car and you have a screwdriver, stab the car with the screwdriver, and then you can get in the car, and there's a hidden level in there, and you unlock this character for doing that.
Yeah, which is how you get the triangle guy, I want to say.
The triangle guy, yeah.
I forget what his name is.
Young
Triangle Man.
Exactly. Doing the thing.
He hates particle
Pop.
man.
Also, I believe that character's special ability is that he has an air horn.
YV, higher rate of fire, pop.
Yeah, I should play around with him after this. I believe that when you press the special button, it just makes air horn sounds.
Nice. Yeah, I also think the plant is okay. And actually my first good run, that one where I unlocked all the characters right away, that was with Crystal, so maybe I should actually be going back to him more often.
I definitely liked Fish a lot for just his ability to move around and avoid damage. as a kind of starter character. Crystal is good, but I find the block harder to use.
I really like having some of the melee weapons are pretty good. The knife isn't super great. The shovel is a little bit too slow, but the wrench moves fast enough and has a wide enough arc that you can knock enemy bullets back in a way that's fairly useful.
True,
Also
and that makes the game feel more like Hotline
close.
Miami. So that's
Right.
The game actually feels, I find, quite a lot like Hotline Miami, just in the way that the sticks respond. But I don't know if you played Hotline Miami with a controller.
I did. The soundtrack isn't as good as Hotline Miami.
Well, it's mostly non-existent.
Right. I mean,
This
I
is
like
a good combination. I got the machine gun in one hand, and I got the crossbow with the homing bolts in the other.
Nice.
Let's do Corpses Fly Farther. This is a really fun one. I don't know if you tried it earlier.
I haven't tried it yet, no. Oh, I also like the Scare Your Face has been good. That's one that I've been using a bit, which lowers enemy HP.
Yes, nothing. I think damaging and hurting bad guys quickly is kind of your best friend, because that way you can take really nasty guys off the board quickly before they can do the same to you.
Yeah, Sharp Teeth doesn't come up a ton, but I usually take that one when it does, which is the one where if you take damage, everything on screen takes the same amount of damage you did.
I say I'm less in favor of that because that involves taking damage.
Sure, I mean,
but
right, it happens. It does happen occasionally, though, and especially, I guess if you get it early, before there's a bunch of stuff that can kill you super fast, like, if you get it early, taking, like, a stray bullet from a bandit will kill, like, all the bandits on the screen, or all the little maggots, or whatever, you know?
I hate these guys. Pipe guys suck. Man, homing bolts are so good. Because they'll go through more than one target, and they'll continue homing after they've killed the first target.
Yeah, that seems almost a little unbalanced. Although I guess, like I said before, like it's kind of hard to get both the necessary components for that to be a thing.
It's kind of also the Dark Souls thing, where it's like the game is already so weighted against you that I don't feel bad about cheesing it when I can.
Right. Sure.
It's not like it's ever easy to finish, so.
Right, I mean, it's like using the pause trick to get past the blue beam trap in Mega Man 2. Like, I don't...
Yeah, they cheat, you cheat.
I don't care. Yeah.
So,
I've done it without doing that once. I've done the Yellow Devil in Mega Man 1 without using the pause trick once, just to prove to myself that I can do it.
So, Joe, have you done this before, incurring the wrath of the blue guys?
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, why are there cops after me all of a sudden? Like,
yeah, you've got time cops.
I think
on
actually
this.
I think that's what killed me in my best run. I was in 3-3 and they came after me and I was like, what the hell?
Well, I want to say it's worth looking into because I think you can get really good weapons from them.
Okay.
There's like a whole tier of like futuristic awesome weapons. I would like to try to not break this gate if I can.
Is that how you get
didn't work out.
You go in the gate?
If you attack the gate, then they will come into the level, and then you can blow up the gate. But again, there's a whole bunch of weird stuff in this game, and I don't know how it all works. Because normally when I play a roguelike, like I try to just explore and sort of be surprised by what happens. But at some point, I probably should have gone looking for more information. I definitely looked up the car thing, and then I did that once or twice. And I know that there are secret levels that you can access by just blowing up parts of the walls, but I don't think they always appear in the same place. So that's what the grenade launcher can be good for, is opening up a path to a secret level.
That's how I had another good run, as I was in the sewers with eyes, and apparently I blew up something, and a portal sucked me in, and then I was in some secret stage that dropped, like, 3 weapons that I had never seen before.
Yeah.
At that point.
I think finding how to consistently get to those places would probably be useful.
Yeah, it was like a flame shotgun and basically like a crossbow shotgun that shot like shrapnel out of it, essentially. And then I don't remember. Oh, the third one was like, it was the Slugger, but it was like a machine gun version of the Slugger. So giant fat bullets that shot super fast in rapid succession. So I was just like, what? Like, that's...
Oh, okay. His special ability is not to do the air horn. It is to do like a super shot. So I can use extra ammo and do like a powerful attack.
Oh, nice.
It doesn't work with a screwdriver.
Super shot.
Exactly.
It doesn't work with a screwdriver? That's bullshit.
Sorry. No ammo to consume, I guess.
Super stab someone with a screwdriver.
So that's what, and I upgraded that too with Throne Butt. I don't know if you've taken Throne Butt before, but that's the one that makes your special ability better.
Yeah, it depends on who I'm using. With eyes, it's actually not that. It upgrades his telekinesis, which, I mean, it's fine, but unless there's not another one that I want more, I usually don't bother. Because it's not, you know.
Alright, we're going all in on this laser pistol here. We're going to see if we can...
See if we can get the.
So he doesn't have an air horn, it just plays an air horn sound every time we start a level.
No.
Which is almost as good.
Yeah.
Would have been happier if I could just make that happen. Oh, you're getting brap.
So how much extra ammo does it use? Were you able to tell?
It was like 5 instead of 1 when I was using the pistol.
It's 4 on the laser pistol, if that's what you were just doing. Smoke Monster says this looks fun. It is.
It is super fun.
And it's also like almost regularly on sale, I feel like, at this point, because it's a few years old now. And it's on Switch, because everything's on Switch.
I mean, honestly, this game actually was given away for free on the Epic Store at some point, which I realized after I bought it for you.
Yeah, I also realized that after you bought it for me. I logged into my Epic Store account to grab whatever the free game of the day was that day, and I was like, oh, I have Nuclear Throne on the Epic Store. And I was like, oh, I think it was a free game. I was like, did Mike give it to me here? I was like, wait, no, I think it was a free game.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I got Celeste that way, which I also haven't played, but now I have no excuse because I have it for free.
I don't understand how you, of all people, haven't played Celeste.
It doesn't have any guns.
Yeah, not enough guns, I guess. I don't know.
No spread gun.
I don't know, man.
There's a lot of games.
You seen how many
games.
rock climbing she's done? She's got 2 guns.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah, hi, that's Anthony over there just dropping in to say hello, but also to do the
Hello.
stream with us.
To wreck everything.
That's Trina, I just died. Are we going to transition over to our other game now, or do we have more things to say about Nuclear Throne? Do you want to wrap that up, Joe?
I mean, it's good. It's a run and gun shooter that is a roguelike, and
And somehow you like it.
Yeah, weird, right? It's got very good guns, even if sometimes it feels like the randomness fucks you. But it's got really good guns, and you can play as a monster that's covered in eyeballs that wears 3D glasses.
You sure can. Actually, you know what? I need to see if
Very
I have
on
any,
brand.
I need to see if I have any skins for characters. I don't even know how to change skins.
You go into the same screen where you change your starting
Look at
weapon.
this, I have stuff. A skin.
Also, what are the daily and weekly, Mike? What are those?
Oh, those are just challenge runs. It's like there's a fixed seed you can run once a day if you want.
Okay.
Pretty classic in all these roguelike-y games. Oh, that's why my robot's blue. I have a robot.
Thanks,
skin.
Spelunky.
I was like, why did the robot look different? Apparently it's because I earned it somehow. Several years ago, and I don't remember how. I don't even know who the other characters I don't have are, by the way.
Yeah, I don't either.
Also, you see, I have a gold gun for this guy, which is a weird choice. I don't know why I would... The golden weapons are the ones that you can choose. So look, this guy... So if I had taken Crystal, I would have started with a crossbow. Because I have a golden...
Oh, so it's by character.
Apparently, yeah. It has to be by character, so it takes a while, I guess, to... Let's see if I start a game with Crystal. Do I have a crossbow right off the bat? Yes. Okay, so it replaces my pistol with a crossbow. And you can only have one at a time for any given character, I think. I'm not sure if you have to go back to that mystery level to unlock them. So you see, you can guarantee that you'll have a laser pistol or a crossbow. The only problem is they're actually not great at the start of the game. So you have to fight until you find another weapon.
Right.
Or else just get really good with them, I guess.
Right.
Kind of overkilling those little grubs.
Have you played this co-op?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever played it co-op. It would be utter madness.
I definitely haven't. We probably should have done that while you were here, though.
Oh, I think I did for a little while with my friend Justin, but it was again years ago. And also, you're just gonna die all the time. You will never stop dying. All right. Well, so is this a recommend?
Yes.
Buy, rent, wait.
Yeah, I would say buy when it's on sale. Which again, games this old seem like anytime there's a Steam sale, they go on sale.
It's also like $10. Just buy it if you want to play it. Treat yourself. You
This
deserve
was
it.
a Vlambeer joint, right?
Yep.
So this was after Super Crate Box and before. What's their most recent thing? I don't even know.
Left trousers.
Is it
Even
Left
that's been a
Trousers?
while. But Vlambeer took a
Those-
time
They
off.
haven't put anything out in quite a
Yeah,
while.
they took some time off for a while. I don't know what their status is. I wonder if I pause this game, will it be quiet?
I
need to
think
switch
their
games.
status is suspicious.
It will
Now.
not be quiet. All right, right. I'm gonna exit this
That's
game,
just you.
and then we're gonna talk about OneShot. But to do that, I'm gonna have to do something a little weird here, a little freaky. So I hope you all will bear with me while I switch over to the desktop.
Nuclear Throne was after Left Trousers.
Does this look?
Yeah.
Does this look okay on the stream?
Super Crate Box was actually their first game.
Right.
Ultra
I mean, it took
Bugs
fucking
is their
wild,
next
but-
game, but is not yet out. So
I
Nuclear
love
Throne is
this
their most recent
aesthetic.
game.
So
Oh, what are you doing?
we're playing OneShot, and
I'm falling.
Hey, Anthony, how you
Hey,
doing?
Mike. I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty swell. You got me OneShot for Stickmas. Would you like to tell me why?
Because I thought you might think it was okay.
I
Man,
see.
you know, few
Because
years
I
into
thought
Sticksmas
you
and
might think it's okay.
Yeah, we're
these
scraping the
stories
barrel.
are really,
Yeah.
really getting sad.
Oh, well, actually, for Mike specifically, it's that Mike really likes indie games, and it is very challenging to think
This
of one that he
is an indie
hasn't
game.
heard of and played.
It is an indie game, and I had not
There's
played
a
it.
lot
So
of video games out there, Anthony. We were just saying. that.
Yeah, I know, but most of the time, my recommends for good indie games come from Mike. So
aw.
turning the tables was hard.
Well, so you
okay.
chose this, and is there any? Is it just the one indie game you played that I hadn't played, or is there like a,
Probably
It had
not.
to be one that he had played that you hadn't played and that he would actually recommend.
Mhm.
I gave you this game because I knew you hadn't played it. It's garbage.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But
so do you like this game, Anthony?
I do. I find this game to be very charming, and I think also it is like if there were certain parts of this game of Undertale that like if you like the kind of meta stuff that was in Undertale and or the like some of I guess kind of the theme or the not the theme the sort of charming look to it. I think like this game has some of that same stuff going on. It's not nearly as good a game as Undertale, but like I came across this game when I was jonesing for something that was kind of like Undertale after
fill
having
that
played
void.
it a bunch, and this one like came up a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's take a look at it.
Yes.
oh wait,
let's.
we can't.
Why not?
Fatal error. Savior not found. Shutting
Oh
down.
no.
All right, so this is your only warning, I guess. If you're interested in this game at all, you should go away because we're gonna spoil the hell out of it, I think. But OneShot is one of those Undertale-y kind of RPG games that does stuff both in and outside of the game, and also, I mean, you can maybe kind of guess based on its name, but it has this sort of permanence to it. You got one shot to play the game, in theory, unless you go in and start mucking around with stuff. So I'm just going to talk about it because I can't actually show it to you right now. So yeah, I did overall like this game, which is
I mean, can you like delete it and reinstall it?
presumably you could. So
So
it is
there are settings you can change, and then you start and they continue on as if they have found themselves back at the beginning.
right. Well, let's get into that while I play some more Nuclear Throne. Then and let's get the set back up here. So yeah, it's an RPG Maker game, right? And if you've played any of those, you have some idea what it looks like. It looks vaguely like an old Super Nintendo role-playing game, kind of where you walk around, but it is completely devoid of combat. There's not even like Undertale in that you can stop fighting.
Yeah.
There's literally no combat in the game. You just walk around a game world. You talk with people. You find stuff. You try to use the right items in the right places to kind of advance the story. Let's see, that makes a bit more sense now. And so it's basically a game about story and some very light puzzle solving and a lot of walking, which does go back, the real throwback to the early Stickmas days. If you remember the first game that I was ever given by Joe, which also involved a lot of walking, and which I was similarly not super into the part where you spend a lot of time walking, but I did like most of the rest of OneShot. So OneShot is a game where you control a little cat named, I want to say Niku. Is it Niku or Neko?
I assumed it was Neko, but I don't actually
I think
know.
it's Niku, whatever. The point is he's a guy who looks like a cat, but he's not a cat, but he looks a lot like a cat. He has cat eyes and he has a hat with cat ears on it, so he looks like he's a cat even though he's not. And you control...
There's a running joke where people refer to him as a cat and he gets mad.
Yes. And you control Niku, but you are not Niku. You are yourself playing a video game on your computer, specifically. Like, this is not a console game. This game would work... This would be really weird on a console, and they would have to do a whole bunch of weird stuff to make it function. It is a game meant to be played on a Windows PC. And it actually forces itself into, like, windowed view when you start playing it, and every once in a while the game will kick you back into windowed view, even though you can maximize it on the screen, which I actually did most of the time. And the reason is that the game does stuff where it plants things on your computer for you to find, basically, as you're going through. Sorry, my chair keeps
Like a
deflating.
keylogger?
Hopefully not. Bitcoin miner, stuff like that. So at the start
Just the version I sent him.
So at the start of the game, you start off in a creepy house, and you're controlling this little cat person who has no idea why they're there. And as you're going around the house, you eventually manage to power on a computer, and when you start using the computer, it addresses you. And I will admit, it's kind of cool that when it addresses you, it does so by name. And I'm guessing this does not work for everyone, but my username on my PC is Mike, so it says, "Hey Mike, what are you doing?"
Yep. And it makes you go like, wait, did I put my name in? I don't think I did.
Right.
So
It's good.
way back in the day, I received a copy of MDK for Christmas.
Oh.
And I fired it up and started playing it, and it says, like, the initial screen says something like, "Hello, Kurt," which,
Which is the name of the
that's
character.
not exactly, it's spelled with a K, which is not exactly a common name. And I was playing it on PS1, and so I was just like, how the fuck does it know what
Is
my
it reading
name
my
is?
memory? Had you played
What
Metal
the
Gear
heck?
Solid at that point or not?
Yeah, I hadn't yet, I don't think. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that would freak me out.
So as you're exploring, so you read the computer, and the computer's like, "Hey, your job is to get Niku out of here," basically. And as you're exploring the house, you finally find a light. It's all dark and creepy. You finally find a light, and it's kind of like a light bulb that just kind of stays on all the time. And Niku starts to carry it around, and you finally leave the house, and you find a bunch of robots in this kind of barren wasteland where it's always night. And they're like, "Oh, you're the Messiah. You've got the sun." And the light bulb that you're carrying around is apparently the sun. And the world has fallen into disrepair, and in order to save the world, you're supposed to climb a tower and put the sun up top, where it can then relight the world. And so you start this adventure where you go through 3 large kind of zones, and you walk around and talk to people, and you pick up stuff, and you try and use it in different places. And everywhere you go, it's kind of creepy, it's kind of somber, it's nighttime all the time, and it always feels like something bad could happen to you, but it never does, because it's not that kind of game. It's just the kind of game where you walk around and you talk to people. And I will say that I did think that the writing was quite good. I thought the characters were interesting. It was pretty funny at times when it wanted to be.
Yeah, like surprisingly so, right?
Yeah, like Niku is really well written for the character that you spend all your time with. And the other people you run into, they feel kind of like people, which is, I think, it's weird to say that, but in a lot of games it's not true.
Yeah. What? Oh, what game was I thinking of? Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is similar in that, like, there are some NPCs that literally have 1 line of dialogue, and you're like, man, there is so much personality packed into that.
Yeah.
And this one does that.
Cornifer is the fucking best.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Let's get that straight.
Actually, Willow's the best. She wants to eat you.
Oh, yes.
Nobody wants to eat you in
You don't know
OneShot.
that, though, until you get the Dream Needle, right?
Which is even better.
And then you find out that she wants to eat you. I mean, she's good, and the Hunter is actually pretty good, too, but Cornifer's the best. Cornifer's awesome.
The hunter being the big monster who gives you the journal, track all
Yes.
your stuff. I didn't
Yes.
spend much time talking with the hunter. Anyway, no one in OneShot wants to eat you. In fact, pretty much everyone wants to help you because you are the savior coming to save the world. But
So
as
it's
you
not
go,
as good as Hollow Knight is what you're telling me.
it is definitely
that's
not as good as Hollow
definitely
Knight.
true.
I mean, that
Few
bar's
things
pretty
are.
high.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
that's not a fair comparison to other games.
As you go through the game, you start to realize that not everyone thinks that what you're doing is going to do the trick. Like some people are like, well, sure, you can bring light back, but that's not going to fix the world. They kind of hinted there being some sort of corruption underlying it all, that like something's gone wrong, and that just turning the lights back on isn't going to fix it. And I guess nothing of like major note happens until you get to the end of the game, and then things get pretty weird. There are some mentions of a character who's like an author, and this person has written like every book in the library somehow. They fly around. What do they fly around in?
An airplane.
They fly around in an airplane, and they drop off all these
Wild.
books. And then why do they
It's
fly?
crazy, right?
Mm-hmm. They drop off all these books, and then they kind of get translated and then put into the library, and they're like the only source of information for people in this world, which is a little weird. And eventually, you have one of their books, and it gets translated, and they're like, and it sort of says, okay, if you want to do the thing, you've got to go to the kind of tower at the end of the game, and then I can't remember exactly how it says it, but it kind of implies that you need to load up a different file. Do you remember exactly how this goes?
I don't. You played it more recently than I
Yeah.
have.
So as you're going through the game, there's a few places where there are puzzles, and the only way to solve the puzzle is you go to a computer terminal in the game, and then it instructs you to do something on your computer in real life. So like one time it puts like a password in the game folder, like there's a text file that appears, and another time it'll change the background on your desktop to be the solution to the puzzle that you need. And when you get to the final area, you actually have to launch a second executable, which creates another window that gives you hints on how to proceed through the tower. And me being an extremely smart person, I did not realize that what you're supposed to do is actually drag the second window on top of the first window, at which point it will literally outline the stuff that you have to interact with. Whereas I was just kind of looking at it going like, oh, I guess there's a thing over there that I got to do. And I would work out most of the time, and then I got to the door maze, and it didn't make any sense to me. But I actually fumbled my way through almost all the way to the end without realizing that you were supposed to literally superimpose them, and that one of them had like cutouts on it, and it would just show you the part of the screen that you needed to go to. Yeah. So what you realize at the end of the game is that the world itself has become sentient. Basically, it's a computer program game world that has suddenly attained sentience somehow and decided that it's kind of had its fill of all this stuff. And so if you put the light bulb in at the top of the tower, you're going to basically be kind of rebooting it for another cycle, but the problems are still going to be there, and I think it's still going to be self-aware, and it's going to get corrupted again. And then what happens is the game starts talking to you directly, and it kind of says, all right, you're at the end of the game now, you've got your Niku's up at the top of this tower with the light bulb. You can put the light bulb in, or you can shatter the light bulb. And if you put it in, you'll bring light back to the world, but Niku's going to be stuck here forever. And if you shatter the light bulb, he gets to go home. And so at the end of the game, you basically have to make a choice, and it's a permanent choice, of do you want to save the game world, or do you want to send this kid home? Because Niku's written to be like maybe 9 or 10 years old. Like, he's clearly a kid. He's not a teenager.
Do you want to kindle the fire, or...
It is very, very Dark Souls-y, except that the difference is, I mean, maybe the chosen undead in Dark Souls is also an innocent person caught up in a really weird thing. But, like, Niku clearly does not want to be there and did not choose to be there. And every time you quit the game and come back, you see the dreams that he's had of his home and his family and the stuff that he's left behind and he wants to get back to. So at the end of the game, I said, fuck it. This kid doesn't deserve to be stuck here with all these people in the weird, decaying AI world, and I sent him home. So he went home. He left the video game. He actually walked out of the frame of the game and off the screen of my computer. And that's why I can't play it anymore. It's because there is no hero. So
only a zero.
Only a
So
zero.
did you like YouTube what happens if you put the light bulb in the thing?
So I haven't done anything so far because I looked up in a guide, I was just kind of like, so yeah, what happens if you go the other way? And there's a whole bunch of other stuff in this game that I have not done, and this is where Anthony's going to try to convince me to do it. Starting now.
So if you do the other one, he bravely like faces the fact that he might not be going back ever, and he's like, well, I think it's right for the world, and it makes you feel worse because he's like such a good kid.
He's a really
But
good kid.
Either way, there's like you can basically like open up the game files again and like futz with some of them. And Mike, I think it would probably be on your computer now, but it like generates extra text files that when you open up are messages from that author you mentioned who like flies around in the plane.
Okay.
And he gives you secret messages about what's going on and says that he can't tell you within the game itself because it's like tracking everything that you interact with.
Okay. So had that been happening for a while and I just didn't notice them? Or is that something that happens only at the end?
I think they're generated at the end, but
Okay.
like within those messages, he tells you how to like reset the game, and then Niku will be there and will be confused and be why he's back at the beginning. And well, no, excuse me, no. At first, he doesn't remember anything, but there's all this extra dialogue in the beginning of the game where he keeps noticing things feel familiar, and he like has deja vu. And then at a certain point in the game, you can like open up some of those extra files again and do a thing, and you basically, there was that like mine where the track is broken. You can like,
yeah.
You can like, you make a minecart appear there randomly, and then you like go way off the rails, and you go into a whole second story about how the game is corrupt, and you go through all this, like, you go through the areas you did before, but there's like, they keep glitching out, and you like interact with the corruption in the system, and you learn where it came from, and you learn who all the people are in the computer, and it's good. So it like doubles down on all of the meta stuff even more so.
So that interests me, but here's the thing. The game gives you one big clear choice at the end of the game, and they're like, no take-backs. And it kind of feels antithetical to the spirit of the game to just be like, okay, now I want to have the good ending.
Get 2 shots.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you. I think the stuff I just described came out like a couple of years after the game had already been out.
Oh, it's like an addendum?
Yes. So it wasn't there originally.
Mike, I think the Splinter pistol was the gun I was referring to earlier that I found.
Yeah, the Splinter gun kicks ass.
Secret level. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well,
Sorry,
okay, so you're saying that this was kind of like a bonus ending that was added to the game later on.
It's a bonus ending, except it's like, another 30% of the game.
Sure, I get that there's more game, right? But the thing that bothers me is that I actually feel like they did a pretty good job of making me care about my choices in the game.
Fight the time cops, Mike.
I beat the time cops, they're dead.
Just make sure 2 of them don't touch each other.
A-T-C-A-B.
Only if it's the same. Only if it's the same one. They can't touch each other.
I think there's no conclusion other than they're the same one.
Well,
Laser cannon.
Can they do the splits?
Yeah, so that's the thing, is I kind of don't want to go back, because I feel like the whole point of that game comes down to what decision do you want to make at the end for Niku, and it kind of cheapens it to be like, who was talking about it? I think Austin Walker was talking about this in The Outer World, saying how, like, well, in a game like this where it's like choose A or B, to have a secret third option, choose C, that makes everything great is a cop-out in a certain sense, because like clearly that is the good answer and it was authored by someone, so the fact that it exists makes you think that, oh well, okay, I need to go and get this good option. I need to be able to talk, Rex down from the ledge or what have you in any of those games where you have to make a choice. And that kind of rubs me the wrong way, especially if you say that it was added kind of after the fact. Because I actually thought pretty hard about my choice at the end of that game. I don't know. I feel like it cheapens the experience to be like, well, actually, you can fix everything and make everything okay. I don't know. That's where I'm at right now, and I can't decide if I want to go back or not. It's
I
kind of the Undertale
agree
thing.
with you. If I don't think there isn't like a choice like that, but I think the gist of what happens at the end, and this is like super spoilers, is that there was a problem with the world that all these people were living in, and so they created a lifelike simulation of it so they could like basically run through cycles and try to find a way to like
This sounds like the
keep
fucking end of the Matrix, where the fucking architect.
It kind of does sound like that, but it's not
Fucking-
bad like that is.
Okay. Okay.
But what it comes down to is like, so that world has long since perished because they got stuck in a loop and never solved it and didn't know that they were doing that. But there was corruption in the system also, which is where the corruption came from, and it like slowly became self-aware. So then the question becomes like, they'd ask questions about if these people have self-determination, if they are a simulation, if you free them, and also if it's right to free them given that this other thing became self-aware. So it was interesting, but it didn't make it like, it didn't give you a choice in that the same way.
Yeah.
It wasn't as interesting from like I'm playing an interactive video game perspective, but like the writing was still interesting. So it was a nice, like, I don't know, it was a nice cap to, or a nice like way to stay in this and also have new content instead of just playing it again.
Mm-hmm. But again,
I
like
do agree with
Undertale,
you
it's the
that,
kind
like,
of game that I don't want to play again, in that it kind of goes against the point of the game to play it more than once.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
It makes total sense, and I do not fault you for that.
And that's a compliment to the game, in a certain sense. Because I wouldn't care if the writing was bad.
Right. But you're also talking to someone who did like the hell run of Undertale just because I wanted to play more.
Right. You had to have the content.
I had.
You fiended for that content.
It's not that I need the content. It's that I liked being in that world so much. I wanted to see everything that was in it.
You wanted to see it destroyed?
Yep, that was fine too.
So maybe part of the thing that is also making me not want to go back to it is that the actual walking around the world part I got pretty bored of.
I totally agree with you. It's at least way streamlined if you do the like other part. It zips you to story beat instead of.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I go back to it, I might be trading kind of a downer experience, but that felt somewhat, it felt weighty. I feel like I'd be trading that for a more generic video game.
Then I say, yeah, leave it there then.
Stick to my guns. Haha.
Yeah.
Stick to my splinter gun, which I don't have anymore. It's too bad. Super shotguns already.
But I thought it was but I think this game, like some of the stuff like putting one screen over the other, or the part where I think it says like you have to go into the void and you have to like move the thing off of the screen in order to make it work properly.
Right, yeah. If you take drag the window off the screen, and every part of the window that's gone off your desktop changes color. So if you move the whole thing, it will reveal like what the password you need is. Yeah, I think that's some cool.
That stuff was fun, and it like I was, despite liking this and Undertale, like these aspects of it, I'm kind of so on like fourth wall breaking stuff most of the time. Like I'll like chuckle at Metal Gear, but it's not like a thing that I absolutely love. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing there. Is more my reaction, and this one made it fun in a way that I wanted to keep doing that. So.
Well,
I don't know. Anyways,
it was an interesting experience, and I'm,
So you're in rent category.
Yes, exactly. Wait for sale.
Okay,
no, I thought it was a good experience with good writing and memorable characters, except that probably half the time that I was playing it, I was like, okay, this is real slow. And I took your advice. I'm glad you said that I should look up a guide for where to go sometimes.
Yeah, there's
because-
just like they just did the thing where they wanted something to feel like a barren wasteland, and so you like have to run across an empty room.
Can you hack in a sprint button?
You move, not, well, maybe, I don't know. I didn't try it, but you move at an okay speed. It's just, you're wandering around an RPG, like a JRPG map where nothing happens. So,
Yeah.
and the areas are kind of big, especially like that city area at the end is like, oh, there's a lot of ground to cover.
Right.
But, you know, aside from that gripe, it was pretty well made. And now none of you really has any good reason to play it, except that it has cool atmosphere. I mean, you know, the moment-to-moment writing is nice, so it might still be worth trying if you think this sounds fun to you.
And it's
I'm
not
gonna
very
say
long.
not a Joe game.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say that sounds like the
certainly
kind
not
of
a
shit that I
joke.
100%. You know what? I liked or Undertale though. I didn't think it was as great as all the people who loved it to death.
Well, you'd had the entire game
right.
spelled out for you before you played it. By us.
Did I?
You sat down
I'm
in
not sure
Anthony's
that I
kitchen and
did.
spent like an hour talking about every last moment of
That's
Undertale
true.
before you played it.
I'm pretty sure I was like mostly tuned out for that conversation
Well, okay.
because you were talking about a game that I hadn't played, so I was like, okay,
Why listen?
yeah. Why
I want to say that we were also talking about it for your sake, but I don't remember. It's been a couple of years.
couldn't say I recall that conversation now, but I mean, I liked Undertale. I had fun. Undertale also had combat though, and it sounds like this game. Although I mean, I like games where you just walk around. Like I really liked What Remains of Edith Finch, which is a game where you just walk around and look at stuff basically for an hour and a half.
I mean, it is walking simulator as JRPG.
See, now that's a combination I'm not sure I love.
Yeah, this does not. My gut's telling me this is a hard pass for Joe.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not grabbing me. Your description is not. I mean, some of that stuff sounds interesting, but I still haven't played Celeste, Mike. I mean, come on.
Celeste is a great game that you would
Yeah,
probably
you should be
enjoy.
playing that instead. Yeah.
Well, Volferis is next on my list because I tweeted about this today, but I think I've come to the conclusion that I just don't care about Death Stranding.
That's probably a fine point of view to take.
I came to that conclusion before I played it.
Well, right, but I put about 4 hours into it, and I realized
Well, you hit the
today-
minimum then.
I realized today
Did
where I
Hideo
was
Kojima
like,
give you a Stickmas present?
yeah, I realized today I was like, I have it. It's still in my house, but I have not at all felt the urge to play more of it. Not like, this game sucks. I don't want to fuck this game, but just like I just don't feel like playing more of it. Like,
Life is too short, and there's too many good games to like when one feels like work or you feel obligated to keep going. Like that's usually a red flag for me.
yeah, I mean, I got past all the exposition dump at the beginning and started playing the actual, like, the game opened up and it was like, go do stuff in the world, and I was like, you know, I spent some time as a bike messenger over the summer. Like, I don't know that I need to play like Future Bike Messenger, the video game. Although the vistas and the scenery and
Oh,
the
you don't
world
like
is like
Paperboy?
pretty cool looking. I do like. I like Paperboy a lot, actually. Paperboy is fucking.
I do that about you.
So the funny
No.
thing, Joe, is that I'm pretty sure that that's the part of the game I would actually be interested in.
I mean, the world looks really cool, and it's like the mechanics of carrying a bunch of shit are actually kind of novel and fun. Like, it's not QWOP level stuff, but it's like walking is now a more difficult endeavor in this video game than it almost ever is. But I just still didn't like. I played some over the weekend and I put it down, and then since then I haven't been like, oh, I should play more of that. Like, I've just been like,
So I finished it
oh yeah.
before I went to New York.
Didn't see that coming.
Did
How's
you
that,
like
how's
it?
that ending, Kurt?
It's fine.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I mean, you played Metal Gear Solid 5, right? So
I did,
you know.
yeah.
Not to completion, I didn't.
I
Well,
I
there
played
you go.
Metal Gear Solid 4 and I learned my lesson.
Metal Gear Solid 5 is a lot better than Metal Gear Solid 4. I'm just gonna put that out there, Mike.
I
You don't have a
agree,
lot of trouble
and I only
believing that.
finished one of those. The wrong one.
But anyway, I will note you probably made the right decision.
Okay.
I would be
for
interested in
what I
hearing
know
how-
of you.
I would be interested in hearing how weird and fucked up it gets, but maybe discussion.
There,
We can spoil stuff.
there
now.
is.
I don't care about
There
it.
is a ton of crazy shit.
I don't care either.
It is-
Disappointingly not weird.
It's
Really? That's too bad. That is disappointing.
I mean, it's pretty weird. Like, there's invisible gorillas that will murder you by dragging you into like a oily mud puddle.
Oh, really? I
if
didn't
they
know they
touch
were
you.
gorillas.
Well, they make
Never
handprints when they walk,
been-
so I can only assume they're gorillas. Because what
I
other
see.
animal has hands for feet?
Maybe they're people that are just walking upside down.
I mean, that's possible, but like, isn't it more fun to think
So
of them as
eventually, when you can see
Yes,
them,
I
they're not. They're more
agree.
like
That's why I was more interested. Oh. That's
Yeah,
annoying.
actually, you can kind of see the outline of them even from the beginning. They don't look like gorillas, but fuck it, they're invisible gorillas to me.
I'm just gonna go on
if
record.
You want to go? If you want to go, I'll
game.
give you a spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, everybody!
Spoiler alert for Death Stranding.
For Death Stranding.
There is a character in the game. His name is Mama.
Is he a gorilla?
She
Is she a gorilla?
is giving. She's sort of the Q person who's giving you gear and telling you about
Okay.
tech stuff. You eventually go to her lab and you find out that she is called Mama because she has a baby. However, the baby is dead. And
The baby's a BB.
Is a BT.
BT, sorry.
Yeah, a BT.
It's a BT.
It's not a BB. A BB
No,
is a
it's
very
BT.
different thing than a BT.
Do we ever find out what BT stands for?
Bachman
Big
Turner.
Beyond Thunderdome.
I don't think I ever did.
I say because I know BB is a bridge baby, but they never
Right.
explain BT as far as I know.
Yeah.
Big Torilla.
And so
Big
she
Torella.
has this. She has this baby still attached to her by an umbilical cord, which all the BTs also have umbilical cords that are somehow connecting them to the other side. And so she's a regular human, but she's attached to a BT that's not trying to kill her, but she doesn't want to. She can't leave.
Does it
because
try to
that
kill
will cause a
other
problem.
people? Okay, so it tries to kill other people.
No.
Oh no.
No, it's just a baby that is kind of ghostly, and you can't really see it very much because only people that have dooms can actually see them. And,
Right.
you know.
Or sense them.
Only
But
people that have
you
Doom?
find all this out
I got like
because
5 copies of Doom.
she explains how she was pregnant when this city that she was in got nuked, a building collapsed on her, and effectively her baby died while she was pinned under all this rubble and everything.
Right.
And so she has all this stuff. Except, much later, you find out effectively, no, she's basically dead too. And so there's like, she was in this weird limbo where she was on both sides at the same time.
Well, is she like you? Is she like Sam, where she can what do they call it? I can't remember. You can come
a
back.
repatriate?
The Revenant.
Repatriate.
No,
yeah.
because once she dies, one, she does not decay. She does not become necrotic.
She does not go necro.
Yeah,
Is it-
but you still do have to deliver her body.
Okay.
Kurt, do
Which
you want
turns
to
out to
tell
be
him
really easily.
who your character really is?
He's Uncle
Or is that
Sam.
too
We've
much of a
been over this.
spoiler?
I mean, if you want
Wait,
the
what?
ultimate spoiler from the very
Yeah.
end of the game, I could tell you.
Yeah, let me hear it. Lay it on me.
Your character, you
this
know
is
the
really
baby
dumb.
from the game? That they always show all the baby, the BB?
Yeah.
That's
I don't understand.
You're
yeah,
a BB
exactly.
for one of the.
So you're playing as the baby, but not
No.
Sam, or Sam is
No,
the BB.
Sam is the
or someone
original
Sam
else?
is the
BB.
original BB.
Yes.
But not the one he's carrying around.
No, that would be fucked up and wild.
I'm not positive that that's not true.
I don't think it is.
So are the
There's
flashbacks
a-
that you're seeing to Mads Mikkelsen's character in the beginning, is that something that you actually lived through originally, or?
So near the end of the game, you do get more of that stuff. Effectively, that's the first BB. And he's going after the BB. You do end up having to fight him,
I like the way you say BB.
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 That's kind of
I
how
like the way
that's kind
he
of how
says
Mads Mikkelsen says
Yeah,
it.
he does. He's like
Okay.
BB.
And he's wait. Die Hardman is the vice president. Deadman is the.
He's not the
medic
vice
guy.
president. He's the advisor to
Well,
the
he
president.
he. I thought
Hey,
he was
Kurt.
I thought he was the
No.
vice
What's
president.
Die Hardman's real name?
John McClane.
The
Yes,
hard man.
Fucking
that's
nailed it.
correct.
Is it really?
Yes. It's spelled different though.
It is. Yeah, you're right. It is.
Who's giving this idiot money to make video games?
I mean, he keeps
I'm
making
actually-
money with his
like,
video games. So
I am ping ponging back and forth so hard between wanting to play this and never wanting
Oh
to
my
have
God.
anything to do with it.
So wait, so I need some clarification on this. He's the original. He's a BB, or he's the original. Like he got out of the vat and grew up, or like you're in. It's the whole thing is like a meta text and it's not really happening. You're in the vat the whole time. Like
No,
I don't
he
get
grew
it.
up. He
But he
grew
grew
up.
up.
I'm
Okay,
pretty
so
sure,
he was a BB, and then he started growing, and they took him out of the vat, and he grew up in the
So you're giving way more
explanation.
connective tissue to any of that than exists in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
The reason I say that it's not clear to me that you're not the BB that you have is that when
My story's a dumpster fire.
no
Uh-huh.
when it is explained how Sam has met Emily. You've met Emily already, right?
I mean, I met a hologram of her, but she's
that
stuck in
Princess Peach?
California.
You don't ever get to meet her. You don't ever get to meet her in the real world.
Okay.
It turns out she's trapped on the beach.
Right.
She's
They talk
actually
about
part of the president. They're the same.
that. Thought she was the president.
No, part of the president that you incinerated.
Oh, okay.
Not the,
course.
pres- not
In
the
much-
present president.
In much the
She's-
same way, she's the same person.
Right.
There is effectively sort of, they call it the ha and the ka, which is no, it's coming up with like Sumerian mysticism or something. I think that's what it is, or it might be Egyptian.
Sure, why not?
I think you
Both,
mean
maybe.
Aka.
No.
More like doo-doo.
So effectively,
I
like
think.
the spirit and the self are two
Right.
different things, and so one is trapped on the beach and one is out in the world.
But she's also.
And that's
the-
why they don't look the same age, because having her spirit be trapped on the beach is draining her on the other side. That's why she has cancer. Turns out she never actually had a baby because she couldn't.
Uh-huh.
So it's not really her daughter. Anyway, when
Does
it's
that mean
revealed,
Sam's not really her son either?
no, that comes out in somewhere in the middle game. It's just adopted.
Okay.
But when
Do you think he decided on the beach because there's a New Order song that mentions?
when
I mean,
Amelie
maybe.
when they reveal the part where Amelie actually where the connection is made between Amelie and Sam, it's in the recreation of the scene that you probably haven't seen yet with Mads Mikkelsen when he's trying to escape the lab with the baby,
Yeah, I didn't see that.
which they both get shot and the baby ends up on the beach and she comes upon him, and that's when they reveal that it's Sam. And so that's why I'm like, I'm not positive they're not all the same person.
I mean, let's say it is.
So
And if
I-
it is, all the mechanics that you were like, did all this happen? None of that is fucking covered.
You know, Mike, I'm gonna upgrade my opinion of One-Shot's writing.
It's getting retroactively better the more we talk about
I'm
this.
kind of hoping that Kojima, like,
Also,
after
the lady on
being
the beach is like the physical manifestation of the destruction of mankind, and
Yeah, I didn't even get into that part.
yeah,
Did
you
they
like
actually
I feel like
explain
having
what
her job
happened?
is to, like talk her out of
like,
it or whatever.
what the Death Stranding was, or do we never?
No.
find that out?
And Death Stranding is an extinction event? No?
Is an
There
extinction
was an
event,
extinction
and
event,
she's
but we don't know
essentially
anything about
she's
it.
the extinction entity that is making it happen.
So she makes all the BTs as well.
Yeah, every time she poops,
Maybe.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
weird.
Yeah,
it's fucking
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, none of that is really explained.
So,
So I kind of hope that Kojima.
Because I
like,
thought actually when they started talking about the whole baby thing, the mama's baby, I was like, oh, and at the point that happens, you end up getting an upgrade on your cuff links, so that you can cut the umbilical cords on the BTs, which
So you can
then
kill them.
eliminates them. Yeah, exactly. And so I was
How,
like,
how
oh,
far
I
do
see
you
what's
have to get
happening.
into the game
You've got
before
this-
you can do that?
That's pretty far in the game.
looks like
It's probably about half. It's probably about halfway.
20 hours or 30
It's probably about
hours.
halfway through the game. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't
Depends
have
on
made
how
it-
much
I wouldn't have made
dilly-dally.
it that far. I don't think.
Depends on how much dilly-dally.
Joe, did you make a poop bomb?
I didn't make a poop bomb.
Well,
He
you
didn't
need,
get-
you should at least get that far, I think.
So
Well,
wait,
did you get that far, Eric?
because he doesn't know.
I haven't played
He
it
doesn't
yet.
know what you mean by that, which is that when you go when you go to your private room,
Yes, I know
right?
You,
You
can,
get
you can.
you
Yeah,
get all showered off.
right. And
You
then
sleep. They
yeah.
drain blood out of you.
Right.
The blood
And
gets
then-
used for grenades.
Grenades. Right. And then you can
take a shower.
Take a shower. You can take a shit, and you can take a piss.
Yeah, when you take a shower, you create an EX0 grenade because it's using the stuff that's shed off of you.
Chiral, yeah, the
Chiral
chiral
shedding,
matter.
blah, 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 right?
I think Anthony's leaving.
When you pee, you get a number 1 grenade, and when you poop, you get a number 2 grenade.
Right.
So look, I'm 100% okay with all this nonsense, and I think it could be totally great. I just wish that Kojima could tell a story with all this ridiculous nonsense in it in a reasonable amount of time. Because
I wouldn't,
every 60 hours,
I wouldn't
Mike.
even mind if it took that long. Like I played Metal Gear Solid 5 for almost 90 hours. Like I don't necessarily mind if it takes a long time, but it has to be interesting. And the thing with Death Stranding is it's like UPS Delivery Man, the video game.
Yeah, that's why I was saying. That's why I was saying I wasn't sure if you'd enjoy it or not. It's like if that part, like if you wandering around in the world and carrying stuff and delivering it here and there, exploring, and that's why I say it was sort of be between the fortresses of Metal Gear Solid 5 part.
Yeah, but
like
with
not
but the
much
thing,
happens.
at least as far as I got, like there's no like in Metal Gear Solid 5 you can steal a Jeep or you get a horse. And like as far as I got in Death Stranding, you have no other way.
What if Death
move
Stranding had a horse?
No, you can get a train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
How long does it take to get that? To get those?
It doesn't actually take that long to get a truck. The truck you can't get until you get to the next area.
Right. So I mean, I just like also at a point that was not very far into my almost 90 hours of Metal Gear Solid 5, I started just taking the helicopter everywhere. Like I was done doing that. Very.
I mean,
early on.
once I got to having a truck, I used it everywhere that I could.
Sure.
And did all kinds of ridiculous, like driving up the side of mountains with the truck.
Right.
Because one, it was faster, and two, it was funny.
I just kind of hope that,
it's
like
also
Kojima's
more safe.
You know,
You can't fall
kinda
down in a
makes
truck.
sense.
And you can load more shit.
Oh, nice. I feel like I would like Kojima to have worked all of this out of his system, and I don't like. I
Maybe
feel like
that's what this is, though.
well, yeah. I mean,
I
it
keep
is.
hoping, anyways.
Yeah.
Because like,
I feel like he had to prove, like, if I leave Konami, I can literally do anything. And this is me
This is
proving
that.
I can literally do anything.
Yeah.
Now, having poo-pooed all over the story and everything, I still want to play this game because the like stacking stuff on your back.
As I said, I'm gonna
sounds
send
like a
it to
lot
you.
of fun to me.
Yeah, I'm with
That's-
Eric. I think that sounds like the good part. So, Joe, when I said it was a boring game, my problem isn't the walking around on mountains and falling over's part. My problem is that every cutscene is 4 times longer than it needs to be. Wow.
That's way less true than it is in stuff like Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Really?
It's-
Because I heard the end
Yeah.
of the game is
It's
like a
closer to
4-hour
Metal Gear
cutscene.
Solid
Yeah, but
5.
that's the end of the game.
Right.
Okay.
You don't
In
have to
these
finish
other
the
games,
game.
you got all those.
Yeah.
Well, Metal Gear
All
Solid
over the
5
place.
wasn't. Metal Gear Solid 5 wasn't
Not
like
as
that.
much. Yeah, 5 was.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
4 is the
like
worst.
that.
Is the
4
most
is the
egregious.
worst.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to play 4 again and just skip all the cutscenes.
I would say. I
like
would
2
say Death
hours
Stranding
long.
Sits,
Yeah, that's fine.
sits between 4 and 5.
I'm like Joe, except that I don't actually
and
want
way
to play
closer
the
to
game again.
5.
I actually really the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 4, especially that first section where there's like the warring
The
factions
first section
and stuff,
is
which
good,
they never really
And
expanded
like
on
the
in a
first
meaningful
return
way.
to Shadow Moses is kind of cool.
I would play it
Honestly-
again if I could skip the boss fights also.
The boss
Honestly,
fights were fine. They weren't as
I
good
never
as
finished
3,
it.
but they were fine.
I'm gonna say I feel like it's been a few years since I last played 3, so it might be time for that again.
Yeah,
3 I might play.
I
That's
just
3
might
didn't even
might play
again.
that every time a new Kojima game comes out.
I mean, that's not a bad way to go.
I've
No,
never
that's
played
a smart way
the
to go.
subsistence version of 3 either. Which
It's really good
The one
because
that
you
they
can
like.
you have like better
The
camera.
behind the shoulder camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have the HD collection. I should replay 3. It's been a minute since I replayed 3 as well. But I mean, I like most of his games just overall, and this felt like he was kind of lashing out, like we were saying. And I don't want him to necessarily just do a game that's Metal Gear, except not. Like, that's not necessarily what I want to see from him. But I want to see something that's like less aggressively weird, maybe, and more. I don't know. I mean, more coherent,
Metal
I guess.
Gear.
I would like to see. I would like to see him do
I actually really wanted to see what he was going to do with Silent Hills.
Silent Hill.
Yeah. Like 3
because then
and
he could
1
really lean into the weird.
That's true.
But like within a structure, because I think 3 and 1 are so great because he mixes in the totally weird, like this guy controls bees in like a really serious story about the Cold War and stuff that like if he strays too far, it feels too weird. Whereas like instead it feels like he brings a really good amount of weirdness to like what would otherwise be a kind of a straightforward thing. It works really well.
To Mike's comment about the amount of cutscene and story and everything, I looked at my watch when I realized I was about to kick into the end of the game, and it was about an hour. In that time, there was still some interactivity. If you define interactivity as being able to walk around, and the credits rolled twice.
Cool. I mean, that's been Kojima for a long time though. Like the last cutscene in Snatcher is like a half hour long, and that game came out on the Sega CD. You know, and I mean, I like that game a lot too.
Yeah, I'm just noting it. You know.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 4, by far, was the most
yes. Metal Gear
egregious
Solid
in that
4
shit.
was definitely the worst of it. The most self-indulgent, the most chatty. I never timed it, but like I definitely was realizing when I did my second playthrough, which was immediately after my first one, which I haven't revisited the game since then, but I was skipping all the cutscenes in my second playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 4, and it was like apparent how much less time it was taking to play through it. You know.
Well, the other problem with that is how much time it takes to just fucking load.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, done with this thing.
Smoke that cigarette?
Watch him smoke a cigarette for 15 minutes.
Right. Well, I played it on the heels of having already played it, so all that stuff was already on my hard drive.
Right.
When I installed that on the hard drive, that first night I got that game though, I was so happy to watch him just smoke that cigarette. It was good.
Real good
like,
looking.
oh yeah, let's
that was
do
the
this.
best memory I have associated with that game for sure.
But I don't know. For the people who didn't play 5, I really liked 5 a lot. The beginning is really slow, which is annoying because
the cool thing about Metal Gear Solid 5 is that you could just like pick it up and play like the first 20 hours of it and just have a cool time running around doing all the fun shit.
I totally dug.
Totally
arrive at a fortress and just take it apart. Fulton all the guys. You know,
and
it's
the bear,
box.
and the Jeep. And make the
when
horse
he's like
poop on the
sliding
bridge
down hills on a cardboard box is like one of the best things in video games from that year.
Dropping a crate on the sniper.
So you do eventually get a floating cargo carrier that you can actually attach 2 of them. That you can attach to an umbilical cord, and you can actually use those to slide down hills.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what you were talking about until you said umbilical cords. I was like,
I
was also like, see? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Man, Fultoning stuff is a lot of fun. I should play some more Metal Gear Solid 5 sometime.
Fultoning, like, I fucking love doing that.
I didn't.
That never got old for me.
One of the only weird things that I never did is
that where you can start it over and just skip all the opening bullshit and go right to the part where you're running around, sliding around.
Probably. There's probably some way to do that. If I was on PC especially, you would think. But the only weird thing that I never did in that game was eventually there's a thing you can get where you can Fulton things through like an interdimensional portal, so you don't have to have like view of the sky. You can be like inside a hangar and Fulton things because like this transdimensional portal just opens above them and they get sucked in. And I didn't do that. That was the only thing that I didn't do at the very end. But
And you can make a horse poop on command.
And you can make a horse poop, and then it makes bad guy cars
Makes bad
spin
guys
out.
slid. Yeah, it's great. Man, now I want to play that game
The
again.
dog is the best though. The dog is. I use the dog more than
The
anything
diamond dog.
else. Yeah,
Give that dog a knife.
I did give the dog a knife.
Make that dog fucking slit guys' throats.
Well, then later, if you level the dog up enough, you can give the dog a taser.
Oh fuck!
Fuck that. Give that dog a fucking knife.
Yeah, but I can't Fulton dudes if he knifes them.
Yeah, but if he knifes them and they're fucking dead, the dog knifed someone.
He's got a point.
Who, the dog and the knife?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog.
Yeah,
Yeah, a fucking knife. It's a dog with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Playing the part of coffee this week.
God damn.
He's not wrong.
I bought MGS5 and I've installed it, I think, 2 separate times and never managed to get around to pressing the play button.
Yeah, the worst part of that game is that it takes like 2 hours of kind of bullshit around to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, you
That
have to
and-
the hospital. It's really tiresome. That part
God,
sucks.
I forgot about that part.
The hospital was fine the first time, but when I think about doing it again, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
Right.
It's a bit much.
There's also
you
the-
get to
the-
see that cool ass like space whale, which is fun.
Yeah,
but-
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but then like a man on fire shows up and everybody acts like that's normal shit.
Right.
And Metal Gear Solid, so it doesn't sound
I was
too
gonna
weird.
say. You
Is he
played
an
Metal Gear
astronaut?
Solid before.
No, no, this is like
okay,
literally,
then
it's
that
like
is weird.
Human Torch style, like a dude, not a dude with a flamethrower, literally a
Dude who is
person
on
who
He is
is
a guy who
engulfed
is
in
on fire.
flames. Yeah,
But it's
not
not like
Denzel
bad,
Washington.
feeling bad about it.
He's not.
not Denzel Washington.
Put the bomb in a guy's ass. It's a
Yeah.
yeah, it's a man who's on fire.
Mhm.
But fuck that. There's a space whale.
Is that the movie where I realized that what's his face reused music from Metal Gear Solid 3 in that movie?
Tony Scott.
Tony Scott.
No, but who composed the music?
Oh.
Oh, is Harry Gregson Williams?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he like there is a tune in one of those scenes that is straight up Metal Gear Solid 3's ending theme.
So it's not the one that they had to take out of
There's
Metal Gear
only-
Solid because it was already stolen from a
No, that
different-
was before
No,
Gregson
yeah.
came in. That was when it was still the Kukeha Club doing the music. Yeah, some Russian song. That's why the original Metal Gear Solid theme isn't in any of the games past the second one.
I think you're correct. They didn't license it for 4, which seemed like a real, missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Then again, you want to talk about missed opportunities, Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, right.
It's full of those.
Thy name is Metal Gear Solid 4. And what if they'd actually just continued with what they started in this first chapter?
What if?
Oh
That's
wait,
the-
we got to go down a fucking rabbit hole and a half of tying up loose ends and connecting everything to everything else.
Yeah.
Mhm. Remember all those characters you liked in Metal Gear Solid 3? Turns out they were assholes.
All of them.
Just like us. Maybe we should wrap this all up.
Yeah.
Good.
Kind of
Wrap
drifted
this up.
off of the topic a little bit.
What are you talking about?
Off track, yes.
I mean, we covered the 2 topics. Then when we were
It's
done,
true, we did.
we went up crazy.
Nuclear Throne is good. You should play it. It's better than Death Stranding. I had more fun with Nuclear Throne than Death Stranding. Take that for what it's worth.
All right.
Did you say Nuclear Stranding?
Yes.
And OneShot is good. You should play it
Death
exactly
Throne.
one time. And then no times after that.
That's my
Alright.
new Man of War cover band.
Yep.
Yes. I'm going to go now.
Speaking of Man of
I'm gonna
War,
stop
I
the
need to play
stream.
Valfaris.
We're going to stop the stream now. I'm
All right.
stopping
I
Never
stream.
stop.
Night, everybody.